Computer. That one's on. That one's on. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So today I'm here with Joshua Sampo, aka the Gremlin. How are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for taking your time out and spending some time with me. I know it's afternoon for you. It's very late evening here, but I do appreciate your time. Sitting down and having a chat with me. I've just done an interview earlier, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But we originally met through Mr. Sampson, didn't we?
We did, yeah. It's me and his interaction was kind of unique because through just coaches and teammates, this gentleman came up and was like, I was getting ready for a Muay Thai fight in New York City, and I got to the gym rather early, and he was sitting in there in his car, and I had just heard some chatter about him and a gear company and all this stuff, and then he just comes up and starts talking to me. He was like, hey, you must be Josh, and we kind of started conversing, and then found out that he actually worked with some of my relatives in the police department, which it's weird how fighting and his line of work, everything was connected, and just, I guess what is it, that 6 degrees of relation? There's always within 6 people, somebody who knows somebody kind of thing.
And it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy how, he worked with my aunt and just knew some other people that outside of the fighting world. But yeah, and then he hooked us up with some gear and we got to test it out. And man, I love this stuff. So.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's good to hear. We've had some great reviews from you guys over in the USA. So thank you for that. And we do appreciate you testing the gear and giving us some great feedback. You and Ashley were the 2 first people to test our kit. So
that's crazy.
We
cool.
do appreciate that. One thing I wanted to ask you, one of my questions was how you got your name. And I did actually hear this story earlier on this evening. But how was you named the Gremlin?
So you've already heard the story of how I got.
I have, yeah, but I want to hear it again.
Okay, so I was grappling. This is before. So I'm a big. Let's see. I'm a big proponent for, like, you don't get to choose your own nickname. It isn't something that you call yourself. You know what I mean? And that it irritates me because then you look at some people and you look at you gave that to yourself. Like, you just want yourself to be. A nickname is not something you call yourself. You know what I mean? It's like what your elders call you or something. You know. But I'm a big proponent for that. So, anyways, rewind a few years. I was grappling. And I was grappling with some of my teammate who's I wrestled with in college, a rather large fellow. I think he wrestled like 180 or something like that. And as we're grappling, like I was on his back and I couldn't get the rear naked choke in, and I was fighting real hard to get it in. And he just kept fighting my hands. Bigger guy, controlling me pretty well. And so I don't know where it came out of, where in my thought process, but I just started like nibbling on his ear. And he let go of my hands and reached for my face, and I was able to slip the choke in, and he tapped. And then as soon as I let go, he threw me off and said, "Get off me, you little gremlin." And I was like, all right. At first I was like, no, I don't know what that is. And somebody else was like, no, that fits you. And it stuck, and one person to the next. And yeah, I kind of got stuck with the nickname, the Gremlin. But I mean, I kind of like it now. And so that's something I learned as a youth, was that if you don't like something, just kind of steer into the skid, and people will stop making funny about it. But no, I really enjoy it now. It's kind of fits me, I guess. And just trying to make it the most I can. But yeah, I think it's pretty unique, and it's something that there's not a lot of Gremlins out there. But
there's not many people that are called that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You are the only one.
There's a couple. There was actually another fighter at the same time. Both of our nicknames were the Gremlins, and we both were flyweights. And I was like, man, this would have been pretty cool if we would have been able to fight. But it never happened. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was chatting to Smashley earlier as well. And she's like, hey, I know the Gremlin.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I gave Ashley her nickname. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think I did. It just kind of, one day came out of nowhere,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So obviously you're a pro MMA fighter, but you're a school teacher as well by trade.
Yeah. So when I went to college, I got my degree in biology with a minor in chemistry. And
Wow.
my teaching career was not my first view. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I never thought I was going to be a teacher. But while I was finishing up my college career, wrestling and my degree, I started coaching high school wrestling and just fell in love with helping the kids out and just, just being there for them and just helping them grow and reveal their potential and chase after their goals and just helping people in their journey. It was something that really I really enjoyed. And the more I spent time with these kids, the head coach was like, dude, like, this is where you need to be. This is kind of this, you're really good at this. You build relationships well with kids, and it's just, you have a knack for it. So he's like, you need to go back to school and be a teacher. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, it's pretty easy. You just go get your master's in education, and you'll be certified to be a teacher. And I was like, no, so I kept like pushing back. He kept pushing me towards it, and out of nowhere, I had another friend who got a promotion, and he ended up running this the fitness center at the university that I went to. And he's like, hey man, I want you to bring you in. I want you to teach CrossFit classes and jiu-jitsu classes in our rec center. He's like, and I'll pay for your masters. And I was like, what?
Wow.
He goes, yeah. He's like, we'll pay for your masters if you come in and teach some classes for us. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, you'll be a graduate assistant, blah, 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 whatever the case is. Like, all right. So then as I was looking through like the different degrees that would work with what I already had, teaching was the only one that really fit. And so I was like, hey man, maybe this is meant to be. So yeah, I went to school, and they paid for my all my schooling. They gave me a living stipend, and and I had to work like 40 hours a week for the university, like teaching classes and running the fitness center. But dude, it was a blessing in disguise, because I ended up getting everything I needed to get my master's and be a teacher. And yeah, it's crazy it's crazy how the world kind of turned me to that direction. But now I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I mean, I love coaching, I love teaching. I just love sharing the knowledge that I have.
Yeah, and I think that's the key element. I wasn't very good at school. I struggled at school, but yet here I am now teaching and going into schools and helping teach and helping teachers teach. So although I really resisted the education side of it, now I'm learning something that I love, and now I'm also helping give that back.
Yeah. One thing that I realized the more I started teaching was that kids want to learn, but it's like they've got to enjoy being in the classroom. And so it's like, if you make it fun, you find a way just to spin it. Like, I do voices. I talk in different voices, and I'm goofy. I'm weird. And I tell the kids all the time, I was like, I am weird. I am goofy. Make fun of me if you're going to make fun of anybody, and I'm fine with that. Don't make fun of each other. Make fun of me. I'm going to do crazy stuff that's going to make you want to make fun of me anyways. Harvey wants to get in the
He's like, hey, I want to be in this podcast, man. What's his name?
His name's Harvey.
Hey, Harvey. Hey, Harv. I love it.
Yeah. We rescued him about a year ago.
Yeah.
I love bull terriers. We ended up, my fiance and myself, we acquired a bull terrier about, say 3 years ago. And then we had her and we loved her. And then we found a rescue group and we ended up acquiring this guy. And I don't think I want any other dog. They've got personalities.
Yeah, they're great dogs.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're
like Sour Patch Kids. They'll they're sour one morning and then they'll just want to cuddle you up the next. Yeah, they're crazy little things.
Yeah, I want a dog. I just don't have time for one at the moment. So I've got a cat. It's the size of a dog. It's the size of a dog. But it's got a cat.
Yeah.
So
they're like miniature kids. It's kind of like prepping us. You know what I mean? If we can take care of a couple dogs, I think then kids are next in line.
Then you're all good. To be honest, I think pets are harder than dogs at times. Pets are harder than children at times.
I believe so.
How do you find? So before we talk about your MMA and your fighting, how do you find the balance of teaching and training to be a pro fighter?
So the thing is like I'm always at the gym. I always want to stay in shape, and kind of the way it is with coaching. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. And so I take care of my schoolwork and prep and everything like that, and have everything that done. I try to, have multiple days prepped before I go into the gym. But it's like, get up. If I have a fight coming up, I make sure that the first thing I do when I wake up is I hit the gym. I go get my cardio, my strength training in first thing in the morning. So my day usually starts at like 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
I go through school all day, you know what I mean? And when you kind of get in that groove, teaching is easy. You just you find a way to relate the material to the kids. And I've got amazing kids that fun, you know what I mean? I enjoy teaching. So it's like, it's not like it's a stressful thing. And then after I get done with that, then it's to the gym to get ready to work. And I enjoy growing, and just always working on my skill set and polishing my tools, if you will. And so I look forward to that every day. And that's where, when I was in the UFC, like the last couple fights, it got to a point where I gave up teaching and everything. I stepped back and I was like, I just want to concentrate and be a full-time fighter. Where if I could give advice to anybody, it's like fighting is my release. It's my way to get away from life. And so it's like, if I made it my job, then I have to do it. And I don't like that. So I changed my mindset. I was like, instead of having to fight, I get to fight. I choose to fight. So just changing my mindset on that gave me that opportunity where it's like, I enjoy every bit about it. I just enjoy going and competing. And so no matter what the style is, like I just made that my pro boxing debut, and like, I just love to fight. But when I get to change that mindset to where I get to fight instead of having to fight to pay the bills, it makes things so much more enjoyable. So my bills are paid because of teaching, and I love teaching. So that's one aspect of my life. But then I get to fight, which is crazy. And the thing that really kind of worried me about the whole thing was that if my administration, how are they going to view me as an educator if they know that I'm a professional fighter as well? I landed in probably the best building possible for that. I got three administrators, three awesome bosses that one of them has actually fought himself. He's from Canada. He grew up boxing. He's done jiu-jitsu before. One of my other principals, he's an all-star stud soccer player, played for the U.S. soccer team, and then coached for multiple years after that. So they come from that athletic background, and they're like, dude, like you carry yourself the right way. You're not promoting violence to the kids. And it's also a way for you to kind of connect with some of those tougher kids that you can't find a way to connect with them. You can't build that relationship. If they understand about fighting, and what you go through to be able to compete at that high level. I mean, there's always good and bads of it. Some kids will always try to push and find a way to push your buttons, but it's like, hey man, it's all right.
It's cool. I'll give you a guillotine.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if you really want to try this, man, come to the gym whenever you want. Like, if you want to punch me in the face, we'll gear up, go to the gym. Like, man, I want to box you right now. I was like, I always have my gear in my truck.
Yeah, give me 2 minutes.
If the principal allows, we'll go get it. You know what I mean? And we have there's an administrator from a different university or from a different school. He actually started a fight club.
Wow.
He started a little fight club where he had pro fighters come in and work with the kids. I guess he had a very rough clientele, but that was a way to really relate with the kids. And so I talked to my administrators like, hey man, I really kind of would like to do this. And they're like, there's a lot of red tape, you know what I mean? But we've got some kids that are like, that don't have the best home lives. And that might be like school is their only constant in life. Mm-hmm. If we can also give them that outlet to where, hey, if things aren't going that well, go upstairs and hit the bag, or I'll hold mitts for you. Whatever the case is, we'll be there for you. So I keep running around. We're getting a new principal next year, so we'll see what his view on it is. So I don't know. You know, it's just you got to meet the kids where they can relate. And I think sometimes that's fighting, and sometimes it's not. But whatever it is,
it's so nice to have, like you say, have someone like in your corner in respects to at work that understands that fighting isn't just fighting. You know, there's an element of control and respect and balance. You have a yin and a yang. We work with children with anger management, and they're called pathway children over here, that have got really quite bad home lives and don't go on their parents and stuff. And we get challenged quite a lot saying, you know, this is a violent child and you're teaching him how to fight. It's like, no, although he's learning skills, we're not teaching how to fight. We're teaching him that there's a place to vent, and he can channel his anger in a positive way rather than punching a wall or his brother or sister or mum or dad. We're actually giving them an outlet. And once they realise that, they actually we're finding that they turn a corner.
Yeah. Just because they can't hit somebody doesn't mean they want to. You know what I mean? And that's and the thing is like being a wrestler, going through college, people would always test you. But then once I started fighting, people are like, oh man, you must get in fights all the time. I was like, actually, no less. Like, I go to the gym, better shape, and I work my butt off. I don't want to risk that because somebody at the pub wants to test me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth it. It's like, and if I end up hurting him because of something that I can't control myself, that's not something I want to live with. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'd rather just buy them a beer and walk away, go to another pub, whatever the case is. But it really changed my perspective on that the more I started training.
And I find you can literally talk your way 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Baffle them with bullshit and they're like, what?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I want to talk a little bit about your fighting career. We
Okay.
talked about your work. You turned pro, was it 2009? Did I read?
About there, yeah.
And when you was teaching at middle school, and then you went into the Legacy Fight Club, was it?
Yeah, so I fought locally multiple times, and we were just trying to make that next big show, and then we got a call from Legacy, and we got to fight Antonio Benuelos. We didn't get a contract with him; it was just a one-fight deal, but
Yeah.
that really kind of springboarded me up, got my name out there a little bit because he was known as this fantastic striker. We outboxed him. We
Nice.
outstruck him, which was, I'm a ground guy, I'm a grappler. If you look at my record, a lot of my wins are by submission.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, this is a grappler versus a striker, and we outstruck him. He actually took me down, which was kind of unexpected.
Whoa.
Yeah, he took me down, and then I got right back up. But it was like, okay, like that's fine. He could take me down if he wants. Like I'm willing to play wherever he wants to play.
Yeah.
And but no, Patrick Christie is my Muay Thai coach, and him and Quentin O'Brien, they had an amazing game plan. We knew that he liked to throw heavy overhand shots, so we got in real quick, popped him once or twice, got right back out. He throw a couple of shots, miss us, and we go right back in. So it was like in, out, right back in.
Yeah,
And it just, dude, it pieced him up, and it was fun. It was a fun fight. And that was that mentality I was talking about before. We got to that point where when you want to win so bad, you know what I mean? You put so much, you put so much, he just fell down. Put so much effort on winning, you know what I mean? Like it becomes a job.
Yeah.
And at that point, like I'd hit that crest where I had a loss on my record because it was becoming a job again. So then that was nice and refreshing to go back to that. I enjoy fighting. I get to fight. I don't have to fight kind of thing. And it worked out for me, man. I went in there and had a blast, and got the win. I mean, and that was the kind of the mindset too. Is like, I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to go fight. I just want to go perform. Yeah, I just want to go perform. And it was a beautiful thing. It was a fun fight.
And do you find the mindset, whether it be at school, at the gym, when you're fighting, like the mindset is so important. So many people forget. They think they're fit because they've done the work, but they forget about this muscle in here is stronger than the rest of it.
Yeah, it's what really kind of flipped the switch for me when it came to the mindset was when I was getting ready for my last UFC fight. I trained in California, and I'm sitting there in the ring getting ready to go, and the coach was like, "Hey, you're going to spar with Romy today." And I was like, "All right." And Romy Adanza is an amazing Muay Thai fighter, and he comes walking into the gym. I swear it looked like he was drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette. And I was like, "Oh wow, this is all right, whatever." So Romy comes in, gears up. And inside of like 3 rounds, I was exhausted. You know what I mean? And coach pulls me off. He goes, "Hey man, are you telling me that Romy's in better shape than you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I bet he couldn't beat you in a 10-meter sprint, but he just outworked you." He goes, "What's the difference?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't know." He goes, "He stayed composed. He stayed calm. Like he wasn't trying to take your head off with every shot. He wasn't throwing. He just kept touching your face, kept moving." And he's like, "He exhausted you because every time he would hit you, you would hold your breath." And so like the mindset, like, he's like, "Dude, that guy couldn't beat you in a 10-second, in a 5-meter race, but he just outworked you inside of like 20 minutes." He goes, "That's crazy." And that really kind of got me thinking. I was like, man, it is. It's all about just staying along. It's like, I know that I'm in shape. I know how long of a fight I can go. I can go for an hour if I have to, but it's just staying composed. If you get hit, it's like, all right, just making myself breathe, staying nice and composed. But yeah, it carries over into teaching too. Like when a kid tries to push your buttons, it's like, you know what I mean? Okay, why is he pushing my buttons? What went on in his day or his week that makes him lash out to me? So it's like, then he dissect the puzzle a little bit to see what's going on. But yeah, it's just saying that composure, that mindset really drastically takes you much further. Because then at the end of the day, it's like, does any of that really matter? You know what I mean? That kid was upset and he snapped at me. He's not going to remember that tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to lose sleep over it, but I want to see what I can do to help that kid. And in fighting, I want to see what I can do to put myself in a better situation next time. So yeah, mindset is huge on that. I can be the most in shape, run marathon after marathon, but if I'm not mentally ready, then it'll definitely take it out of you.
Definitely. Good advice. And then did I read you went into Bellator and the UFC? Was it against Ryan?
I fought in Legacy, and then because of Legacy, because I beat Antonio Benuelos on Fight Matrix, is a website that ranks fighters. It like shot me up to like number 2 in the world, which I was like, oh,
okay,
yeah. I was like, all right, whatever that is, because I guess they base it based on who you fought and how active you are.
Yeah.
Well, before that fight, we got offered to fight Alexis Villa on a couple shows, and he fought in Bellator. He knocked out Joe Warren, and he was an Olympic wrestler, tough guy. But my coach was like, "No, we're not fighting him." I was like, "All right." And then while I was in the middle of grad school, I was finishing up student teaching. Like my plate was super full. We got offered to fight again. It was right after fighting Benuelos. We got offered to fight Alexis Villa, and I was like, "All right, cool." And at first they wanted us to fight at 35, and my coach was like, "No," and he's like, "All right, we'll fight at 25." And then the organization, which is in Miami, is called Championship Fighting Alliance. Alexis Villa's best friend owns the organization. It was in Miami. It was while I was in the middle of grad school. My coach is like, "No, we're not taking this fight." And I was like, "Look, coach, high risk, high reward. I just want to fight." I was like, "This is the perfect timing." Plus they offered us 10 grand. They're like, "We'll give you $5,000 to fight, $5,000 to win." And I was like, because what they were trying to do is they're trying to get Villa in the UFC. That figured they could steal my ranking if they beat me.
Okay.
That would springboard him in. That's what they were told. They were told that if he beats me, he gets into the UFC.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, we found that out after the fight. So I trained my butt off for it. You know what I mean? Every morning, go through teaching and everything, and then training at night, and just worked my butt off. I had an amazing workout partner at the time. His name was Alp Oskalic. He also got signed to the UFC right about the same time I did. The Turkish Delight, another nickname that I gave to a fighter. Anyway, so yeah. So they gave us, they offered us that fight. My coach was like, no, we're not going to take this fight. I was like, "Coach, high risk, high reward. I mean, if we're not chasing the best fighters, then what are we doing this for?" And he's like, Finally, he came around and we took the fight. I was like, "If we lose, it's $5,000 in our pockets. We fought a top notch dude. We'll move on with our day. We win, that's 10 grand. We move up the ladder." He's like, "All right, fine." I talked him into it. So we went down to Miami, and hardcore wrestler. I think I had 2 people in the stands. One of my former wrestlers was getting ready to leave on a cruise with his family. He found out about it, and then a couple old college teammates made it to the venue. But dude, it was where the Miami Hurricane basketball team plays.
Wow.
So, yeah, we fought there, and it was a 5-round war, and I ended up submitting him in the 5th round. I was definitely losing the fight because he just kept taking me down, but I was just beating him up. I mean, he's an Olympic caliber wrestler. I'm not going to be able to out wrestle him. So I was like, all right, the first time he took me down, I realized he's not causing me damage. I can beat him up on the ground, get back to my feet, and cause more damage. And in the 5th round, he got exhausted. He took me down probably 40 times.
Wow.
He got tired. He got more and more tired. I could see it on him. So we got into the 5th round, and he shot in and left his neck out. And I snatched his neck and choked him out with like a minute left in the fight. And it was crazy. So then,
well, that mindset again.
Yeah, you're right. And so it was crazy because all my friends were like, "Dude, you're going to make it to the UFC. You're going to make it." I was like, that doesn't guarantee anything. You know what I mean? And of course, no phone call came. So I was like, dude, let's move on. So because I signed with CFA, I was like a 3 or 4 fight contract. They set me up to defend the title that I won. And that beating Villa, I won their CFA flyweight title. And then I defended the belt one time. But the thing that kind of made me mad was the contract said that for every time I fought, my pay would bump up $2,000. $2,000 to fight 2. Yeah. So I did like 13 grand the next time, but they're like, "We can't afford that." And I was like, "That's what the contract says." But they were banking on Villa beating me off the get-go, which kind of frustrated me. I was like, whatever. But my manager talked him into getting, I think I got 3-3 the next time I defended my belt. I beat that guy, and then I got the call. That's when I got the call to the UFC, which was crazy because my manager started blowing my phone up when I was at work. So I'm at school teaching, right? My phone keeps blowing up, and I was like, "Man, I'm at work. I can't talk to you." He's like, "Hey, we got an offer." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll talk to you after work." He goes like, "No, it's from the UFC." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm freaking out right now. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Lunch break.
Yeah. So he's like, "They want you to fight a newcomer." I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." He's like, "Next weekend."
Wow.
I was like, "Next weekend?" He's like, "Yeah, next weekend." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "How's your weight?" And I was like, I'll check when I get home and I'll let you know. Because it was like, yeah, it's the middle of deer season. So I just got done.
I'll get the sweatsuit on.
So I checked my weight after I got off of work, and I was 30 pounds over.
Ooh.
So I was right around like, close to 160. I was thick. And I was like, all right, but I was like, when the big boss calls, you don't tell him no. I was like, all right, sign it. So we signed the contract, and that next weekend, it worked out perfect for me because I was off of school because of Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And, we flew to Vegas. I missed weight by 1.5 pounds.
Ooh.
I missed weight by a pound and a half, but they're like, hey man, you took the fight on 8 days notice. We understand. We're not going to tax you too much. He goes, the only thing that they said that you're ineligible to receive the bonuses. I was like, I don't care. I'm in the UFC. I just
I'll
want to
fight.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up choking him out in the second round. And then
Yes.
it was
Who
very,
was that again? Sorry, who did you fight?
what was it? Ryan Benoit.
Ryan.
Yeah. And after I choked him out, went out, was at the bar with my, in the hotel at the bar with some of my friends. And then I got a tweet that we received fight of the night. Me and my opponent
Yeah.
received fight of the night. But because I didn't make weight, they gave my $50,000 bonus to my opponent. So I choked him out in the second round. He went home with $108,000. I went home with
Wow.
$grand. I was like, but I fight because I love to fight, not give up
Yeah.
the money. And I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, man. I still get the recognition for fight of the night. I just didn't get the $50,000, which would have
Yeah.
been nice to pay off student loans and stuff like that. But it's just money, man. It's like you can't chase money your entire life because
No.
it'll make you miserable. But no, yeah, I got in the UFC, and then after that, had a couple losses. Got to fight in Ireland though. That was, man.
Yeah.
I love Europe, man. I definitely want to fight there again. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping
Yeah.
that you can
Yeah, again,
make it happen.
we're trying to make it happen. The coronavirus has kind of slowed a few things down for a while,
Yeah,
but if we can make that happen, then obviously we will.
yeah.
We'll do our best. It'd be great to have you over here. I am actually trying to get over to see Nick as well. Hopefully, end of this year or early next year. So if I get a chance to come over, I'll try and make sure we hook up and
Definitely,
have
definitely,
a bite. Maybe do some pads.
yeah. Yeah, go to a pub or so, blow the foam off a few,
Indeed. That's a really cool story. And one thing I want to touch on is we get so many. I don't want to say dreamers because we all have to follow our dreams, but we get a lot of people going, yeah, I'm going to be a pro fighter, and I'm like, it's not that easy. You can't just choose to be a pro fighter and go and get paid to fight.
Yeah,
You're talking 10 years of graft, and if you want to get there, it is graft. It's not I go to the gym twice a week and
yeah,
make money. And it's only until you get, like you say, to UFC status that the money goes up.
yeah,
And the kids, I think, turn around and say, yeah, but if I get $1,000 a fight, and I'm like, yeah, but you could go to your local Tesco supermarket and earn £20,000 a year.
yeah,
So if you're earning £1,000 a fight, you've got to have 20 fights a year to make base money.
yeah.
And 20 fights a year is a lot of fighting.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of kids say the same thing, like, "Oh, you made a lot of money." I was like, "No, I made a lot of money when I fought, but I only fought once or twice a year, and I didn't make a lot of money. I made good money." I go, "But you got to think about all your bills, your living expenses, and then when you actually get into what they fight camp to getting ready for that, the way that you eat, the healthy living styles, helping out, like." A lot of people will just use like workout partners. Like I like try to kick them down. It's like they're sacrificing time. I gotta help
Yeah.
pay for that a little bit, paying coaches, paying managers. Like it is expensive. You think about, so if a $50,000 payday, you know what I mean? So you talk about taxes, you're all 1099 is, so
Yeah.
it's like they don't take taxes out, right? So you already have to pay the government at least, I think it's 50%. So off the top, I already dropped down to 25 grand. So then I got to pay 20% to my manager. And then I got to pay my gym and my coaches 10%, which I'm fine with. I kick them down money every time that I can. And then you think about your workout partners and gear, like at
There's
most,
not a lot left.
no, you're making about 15% is like what your take home. It's like, that's not a lot of money unless you're like Conor, not making money. So it's
Yeah.
like, you got to fight for the love of fighting. And so like you said, like I've got a lot of teammates and stuff that are like, oh, I'm going to make it big. I want to be this. I want to be like Conor McGregor. I was like, okay, I heard it from George St. Pierre's coach. He goes, our goal when it comes to fighting is just to be the best fighter we can be. He goes, if a title and all the money comes with that, that's great.
It's a bonus.
But my whole view, my whole purpose is just to be the best fighter I can be every time I step in the cage. He goes, if I focus on the money, if I focus on the fame, I focus on the endorsement deals, then I'm not focused on the right thing and I'm going to get beat. If I focus on being the best fighter I can be, the rest will take care of itself. And so when I heard that, I was like, that flipped a switch. And I was like, dude, that makes so much sense. I just want to be the best fighter I can be. And that stems back to that mentality and being in the best shape and stuff like that, and taking care of so you have the right people around you. But yeah, it's not about the belt. It's not about all the social media that follows all that. Like I hate social media when it comes to that because,
Yeah.
but the UFC like forces you, like you have to have a Twitter, you have to have an Instagram, you really got to push all this
Yeah,
stuff.
you have to
like,
post 3 times a day.
yeah, I was like, that's so stupid. They're like, but how good of a fighter you are. It's almost about how good of a online presence you have.
Yeah.
I've seen too many people get big fights just because they've talked the right amount of trash or they have the right amount of followers. I'm like, man, that's not what it used to be about. It used to be the best guy fights the best guy, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
I wish it would get back to that because as much as Dana White talked about that, he's like, I'm not going to be like boxing. It's exactly what he did. When he saw how much money he could rake in when Conor McGregor didn't even have the belt, but it's like, oh, let's just segue him right in.
We'll find a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, look at one of the biggest fights on the planet when Conor boxed
Mayweather.
Like, who on the planet can make that happen? Like,
Yeah.
But it's the right amount of talk, the right amount of money, and it happens, which is wrong.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It's sadly the way the world is, I think.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your styles. So how tall are you?
I'm just under 5'5", so like 5'4" and 3/4.
And the 3/4.
Yeah, 3/4.
Yeah, I don't tell anyone I'm 5'6.5".
Okay.
So obviously, if I look through your profile feed, it's very heavily wrestling based. So I would take a guess that you are predominantly a wrestler when it comes to fighting.
I started wrestling in high school, wrestled all through high school. Wrestling got me a college degree. So it all stems back to wrestling. But so I got into fighting because of wrestling. So my senior year, I was 10 seconds from the national finals. I had set myself up beautifully I beat the defending national champ in the district tournament. We go to the national tournament. I have the top 3 guys. I think I was ranked like 4th in the country at the time, and I had the top 3 guys all on the other side of the bracket. So they had to wrestle each other to get to essentially me.
Yeah.
I wrestled this kid that came out of nowhere. He's a California wrestler, great wrestler, and we met in the semis on my side of the bracket. And we got into a scramble, and inside that scramble, the referees awarded him points. I've watched the video over 1,000 times, and 50% of the time it could go for me, and 50% of the time it could have gone for him. It all depends on the referee's view. And it was so frustrating because it was like any other different referee, I could have got the call, and the call just didn't go my way that time. And I didn't make the national finals, and I was just so hurt. I mean, I was depressed, but I still had that drive to compete because I worked so hard to win a national title. I beat many national champs leading up to that point, but just never actually got the piece of metal. You know what I mean? And that helps me as a coach too, because I'm like, dude, it's not the piece of metal that defines who you are as a person. I tell my wrestlers this all the time. I was like, it's the pursuit of that piece of metal that defines who you are as a person.
The journey.
Yeah, how you deal with adversity, how you bounce back. Like I had a kid a couple years ago, or actually last season. I love the kid, man. I still work with him. He's going to college at University of Missouri next year, and state quarterfinals. I mean, he's just dominating people. And the kid that he had would have the defending state champ was undefeated. It ended up becoming a 4-time undefeated state champ, right? But he would have beat him. My guy would have beat him. I know down in my heart because he was training right. We were working our butt off. He was doing so much extra, but he overlooked one of his opponents and got caught in the quarterfinals of the state tournament. And he could have been like any other senior, which I've seen a lot of seniors do this. If they can't win this tournament, they drop out once they've lost. They go home.
Upset.
Yeah, upset. I'm done. I don't care. But I was like, and I sat down with him afterwards after he kind of calmed down. I was like, how you respond to this shows more of your character than winning the state title.
Definitely.
And I think that kind of set in with him because afterwards he was like, I'm glad that I was able to finish the tournament the way that I did because he came all the way back and won 3rd place. He beat the guy that had previously beat him, like beat the piss out of the kid. And you know what I mean? So it's like, dude, you got to win your last match of your high school career. Yeah, it's not a gold medal, but still, your top 3. The kid who ended up winning it, he knows that if he would have wrestled you in the state finals, he would have lost. Like he knows that. I mean, you could tell just the way the kid carried himself.
Yeah.
So it's because of wrestling, and I kind of went off on a tangent there, but because of wrestling, I got into jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu got me into fighting. But I am a ground fighter. I love jiu-jitsu. I love wrestling. Love coaching it. Love helping everybody with it. But wrestling is my background. But still chasing after that black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm I'm a 4-stripe brown belt right now, so hopefully that black
Ooh.
belt comes soon. Yeah.
He's close.
Well, the coaches have told me I've got to win a couple big tournaments, and every time I sign up for the tournament, there's either no one in my bracket or the coronavirus is keeping me from getting my black belt. But
yeah, apparently there's a fluke going around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you touched on, I wasn't going to talk about it, because you touched on it. You talked about the mindset of a fighter when they lose. And I say a lot to my students and my fighters, but also the children that I teach at school. And I think it's something that is being lost in society now, is we have to learn to lose. We have to learn disappointment. And I think certainly a lot more recently, over the last 4 or 5 years, if someone loses, they get given something, or they're like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, participation medals.
Yeah. It's like we give out awards every year, and then last year I had a parent going, but Thingy didn't get an award. And I'm like, well, they didn't win Fighter of the Year, they didn't win the highest amount of times of training, they didn't get the most grading, so unfortunately they didn't win anything. And it's like, well, when I go to football, they all get a medal. I'm like, well, that doesn't detract from the reason given a medal. Well, if everyone gets a medal, then why fucking try?
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the mindset our kids are. I mean, we have it all the time. It's like they get that entitled mindset. Well, it's like, well, I showed up. Don't I get what they have? It's like, if you look at the Olympics, there's only 3 medalists.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest sporting, you know what I mean? Like nobody cares who took 8th place, because that doesn't deserve a medal. You didn't earn the medal. You know what I mean? So it's like, kids got to, like you said, kids have to learn how to lose, but it's like, it's the character that comes with that. It's how do you respond to that? Do they throw the tantrum and say, I'm never doing this again? Or like, what do I got to do better next time? Because there's always going to be a next time, if they choose that. You know what I mean?
And if they give up and go home, then for me, they haven't learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Like you say, when you lose, it's how you respond and walk forward.
Yeah. It's how do you react to this instead of, you know what I mean? Like, what could you have done differently, or did we not do enough to lead up to this point? Or was your opponent just that much better than you? It doesn't mean that you didn't give us everything you had. Did you give us 100% of what you had? They were just a little bit better, or they just had a better match. That's, you know what I mean? That happens sometimes. That's life. Sometimes we were just off a little bit, or just things weren't clicking the right way. It happens. That's part of it. But how do you get up, pick yourself up from that situation
and learn from it?
Well, it's the same with teaching, because I mean, with the kids and grades and stuff like that, they're like, oh, but I work so hard. It's like, and I appreciate effort more than anything. And we're not there yet. We're not where we want to be yet. So let's just keep pushing. Let's study a little bit harder. Let's work a little bit harder. Yeah, it's that yet mindset. We're not there yet. We're just moving forward. Yeah. But I gave a speech at a graduation one time, and it's like, even if you fall flat on your face, you're still at least, you know what I mean? Instead of falling back, you're still moving forward, even if you fall on your face. So just keep, you got to learn to fail. You got to learn to pick yourself back up and get back to work.
Yeah. And that's such an important skill set, mindset, principle to have. One we talk about all the time, but it's nice to hear on the other side of the planet that, do you know what I mean? That, the same principles there. And, if anyone is listening to this or watching this, if that's the one thing they took away from this, is it doesn't matter if you fall. It doesn't matter if you fail, as long as you're trying your hardest and you dust yourself off and get back up and keep going forwards, then, you will become a winner. It just might take time.
It's, and I can't remember whose quote this is, but it's extremely hard to beat somebody who's willing to never give up.
That's how I won all my fights. I wasn't skillful. You just wasn't going to fucking stop me.
Well, like in wrestling in college, it wasn't, I wouldn't win the first or the second period, but the third period, I usually, because I was in better shape, I was always willing to sacrifice and go work out and get in better shape. And then I would always be able to, and they may be up in points, but hey, I wasn't stopping. You know what I mean? So most of my matches were won in the third round.
Yeah, I had very similar mindset, because I'm only 5'6". My flexibility isn't the highest. I could wear opponents down. Like, you'd have to put me in a box to stop me more than flicky kicks that scored points kind of thing. Yeah. So, but I have that mindset in life. If someone tells me I can't do it, I'm going to go and show you that I can. Yeah. Or I'll at least do my best to get as far as I can.
Yeah.
So,
the same mindset is kind of how I got into wrestling, because I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to do all the cool things that my classmates and stuff did, but it's like, genetics just works against you. But I can work as hard as I want to be a good basketball player. No matter how hard I work, there's always going to be that person that's 6 foot tall that's just going to be a little bit better. So that kind of made me realize it's like, all right, there is some certain things that I'm predisposed not to be able to do.
Yeah. We're never going to be 100-meter sprinters.
I won a state title in the 4x1 relay.
Did you?
Yeah, and my senior year, I won a state title in track. I won a state title in wrestling, and then my football team, we won our first state title my senior year, and I was the first team all conference safety. So I mean, I grew up in an amazing town. Like if I would have grew up anywhere else, I don't think I would have been able to play football. But because I grew up in such a small town, I was able to play the sports like I did. But it was kind of the same thing. Like when I was 76-pound freshman. So I'm like 4'10", 76 pounds, and they're like, "You're going out for football," and I was like, "Yeah, man, I want to play football." Yeah. And then as the years go by, you know what I mean? I was only about 120 pounds my senior year, but that same mentality, that same attitude. Like you're gonna have to kill me to get past me, because if I just get a shoelace, I'm gonna tackle you, kind of thing. Yeah. So it was cool though, but it was a great life experience, because it was the same thing. No matter how big they are, it's like, okay, this is a huge obstacle in front of me. This guy's massive. Do I go around him? Do I go under him? Do I go through him? Do I have my teammate throw me over the top of him? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, I'll find a way.
You can find a way, exactly.
Find a way. Nice. One of my friends has asked me to ask you this. Which skill set do you think is least effective in the cage? Now, I know the answer because it's unanswerable, but I've been asked to ask, so I'm going to ask.
Which skill set?
Yeah, because it depends on who you're fighting, and it depends on their skill set. It's all right having a great ground game, but if you can't get anywhere near the person, then your ground game's going to be.
So my last UFC fight, I fought what was his name? Justin Scoggins, and he has this weird karate background.
Yeah.
So the thing was, I felt like I chased that guy around the ring. I was like, if I can just get him down, it's going to change the dynamic of this fight. But it's like, fights like that make me realize, like, okay, I got to do better with my striking to get to my bread and butter, which is my ground game.
Yeah.
But he literally just like point fighted me. He would hit me and like run, but it was like, it was effective for him. And he did that side stop, like Thompson. He did that side karate stance all the time, and those side kicks, and I'm like,
off the lead leg.
God, I hated it. He actually fractured my face because he hit me with a heel kick right in the cheekbone and fractured my cheekbone. He was like, man, I'm surprised it didn't put him down. I was like, it hurt my face, but it's like, I guess I got a pretty hard head because I just kept marching through. But I mean, just every skill set has an answer, but it's like, do you have an answer in that moment?
Yeah.
So I don't think there is a skill set that's the least effective. Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to just that the mindset of I'm not going to do anything different than I did my last fight is the least effective strategy.
Yeah, good answer. Very good answer. So.
Yeah.
And I say to my guys as well, for example, like a Formula One car is hypothetically the fastest car on the planet. It's the fastest race car you've got. Put it in a field, you're screwed, and it doesn't work. You can have the fastest car on the planet, but put it on some wet grass, you're going to go nowhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's all right having a game, but the game has to work in the surroundings that you're in.
Yeah.
And obviously with mixed martial arts, that can be anything. Yeah. Kickboxing's a bit more simple. Thai boxing a bit more simple because you got one game.
Yeah.
But you go into a cage and there's lots of games to play.
Well, and that's why I love Muay Thai. I love kickboxing. I love boxing because I started out in MMA where it's like you have all these things to worry about. You got to worry about the takedown, the punches, the kicks, everything like that. And now it's like when I did that boxing match, I was like, I have to worry about two hands.
That's it.
They can't take me down. I was like, that's it. I was like, this is so much fun. It was so much fun. And the guy that we fought for it's called Guns and Hoses.
Yes. Yeah, we supplied the gloves for some of that.
That's right. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So it was an awesome fundraiser for fallen first responders is what they raised the money for. And it's an amazing event. The guy that I fought is a police officer and he's a pro boxer. And now he's a teammate. So his gym and my gym kind of merged together. And so it's really cool to get to talk to them and stuff like that, and just get to train with them and help them out. But it was such a cool experience, and I can't thank him enough for allowing me to do that, because I'm an educator. Like, I shouldn't have been able to fight in that. And everybody was like, how were you able to fight in that? I was like, well, I'm fighting a pro fighter. They need another pro fighter. So just by circumstance, I was able to make it happen.
Yeah. Nice.
It was super cool. Like, and I want to box more. I mean, that's what I told you. I was like, anything you can get me in the UK, boxing, kickboxing, arm wrestling, thumb wrestling, whatever you can find. Yeah. I don't care, man. Yeah. I love fighting. I like to where it's like style specific. So it's like, for that boxing match, we focused just on footwork, and I worked with a couple boxers and just training the mindset and the body movement. I was like, because this is going to help my overall game dramatically, because it's like, it gives me a different perspective. And even that, it was like, it's crazy because the angles, like in MMA, like you want to create good angles, but it's like the footwork is different. The way that you pivot, the way you move your hips to throw power. I was like, this is awesome. And I think already just like sparring since that fight, it's completely changed my mindset. I was like, now it's like, I don't care if I get taken down, because I know I can get back up, but I want to I want to be a striker now.
Yeah.
I love striking. I love standing and striking with somebody. It's fun.
That's cool. I love striking. Obviously, it's why it's kickboxing and not wrestling. But I like striking. It's good fun. Good fun. Cool. How changing pace slightly, because obviously you're busy teaching. You're up at 3 a.m. You're going to the gym before, after training for your fights. How do you unwind? How do you switch off?
Oh, I really don't. If it's a fight coming up, I don't. I mean, when I hit the bed, I'm out. And my fiance kind of hates that, because I can literally sleep through anything.
Really?
She's always like, "Am I keeping you up?" And I'm like, "No," because it's like I unwind by literally going to bed, and as soon as I wake back up and back to work.
Yeah.
I guess my focus is just like, when you have everything so scheduled out, it's like I don't have time to focus on like downtime, because there really is no downtime. It's like working to get prepped and ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which does kind of bring us on to, we've talked very quickly about routine. Obviously, I'm the same as you. It's get up early, breakfast, teach, gym, classes, schools, home, lunch, back to the gym, more classes. So literally Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. is structured. And now the coronavirus has come along, and now I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm someone that really needs focus. I really need a goal. I need to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's probably the same for you guys, because technically the whole world's in lockdown at the moment.
Yeah. So with teaching, we switched over to the virtual learning. So like the Zoom that we're doing, like I Zoom with, I have meetings every Tuesday, Thursday, but they're like hour-long meetings. You know what I mean? Like we have to present the kids with information, new information twice a week. We have school from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday is supposed to be like a teacher day, PD day, whatever it is. But so like I do as much as I can, and I'll do little videos like through Zoom and tag them to the slideshow, and try and get all that work together for them. Try to make it as simple as possible, but also keep them engaged as well. So trying to find fun ways to throw games and stuff like that at them. And then I always tell them, I was like, if you have a question, email me. If I need to Zoom you real quick so we can walk through it together. And my kids are doing pretty well so far. I think I've got pretty much about 80% of my kids are actually engaged and doing the work, which is,
that's good.
The ones that aren't, I'm just kind of, trying to touch base with them, make sure that they're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's the grading system is going to be a little bit different because of all this, but it's unique. But yeah, like I'm so used to structured, like getting up early. I usually go to work pretty early to just kind of get my day going the right way, get my papers in order, get everything I need to printed off, stuff like that. And now it's like I wake up, I have a cup of coffee, and it's like, all right, let's sit down and check my emails kind of thing. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But
it's not the same.
It's not the same. So I started doing side work with my print. Well, I was doing it before, but we were only doing it like on the weekends and stuff like that. But now it's almost like every day, because he's like, hey, we got another job. We got to build a deck, and we got to go do the siding on this house. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm kind of double dipping a little bit, because I'm still getting paid as a teacher.
Nice.
But now I'm making a little bit of extra money we might be postponing the wedding because of all this, because I don't even know if we can have our wedding is scheduled for October.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to allow us to have 200 people congregated
Yeah.
So it all depends. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
not the same on Zoom, is it?
no, no, it's not the same on
Oh, that
Zoom.
would be cheaper.
It might. I mean, the cool thing about Zoom is like, have you oh, let's see. I don't know if I can do it. Nope, I can't do it on this. On my work computer, you can change the background. So I can look like
Yes.
I'm at the beach. Can you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I haven't got any set up, I don't think, but I have played around with it before. But yeah, a friend of mine, we was doing a training on Friday, and he put a load of like toilet rolls behind him and stuff.
That's crazy.
He was rich.
Yeah.
um, I always ask my guests if they've got any questions for me. I mean, you may not have because you're over the other side of the water, but if you've got any questions for me, feel free to fire them away.
So, okay. So what is, have you lived anywhere else in your life?
No,
Have you
UK.
just the UK? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, coming from the US, I spent a week and a half in Dublin, and just the culture was awesome.
Yeah.
I did there was a couple fast food joints, but it's like we just went to a random pub, just a random bar. We're like, hey, we'll grab some bar food, and in the U.S., bar food is like everything's deep fried.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of threw me off. Was like, hey, where's your menus? They're like, oh, it's all up on a chalkboard. I was like, okay, and it was like pot roast chicken,
Yeah.
chicken curry, like shepherd's pie. I was like, this is your guys' bar food. I was like, that really kind of shook me. And then how a lot of people walked places, which was very unique. So what is your kind of view, I guess, of the U.S. of like, we have that huge obesity issues. It's just that people are lazy. And it's what's crazy about fighting too, is because like eating crappy is very convenient. You know what I mean? It's convenient to go grab a $5 pizza. It's convenient to go grab a couple burgers. It takes time and dedication to like cook a good meal. But when you're training, it's like, it's second nature. So my fiance is also a trainer and stuff. She's a CrossFit coach at a big gym here. And we used to meal prep like every Sunday. We'd meal prep for the whole week. So it was convenience, but health at the same time. So what's your view on that of the U.S. and us and our fatness, I guess I should say.
I should be careful. So you are absolutely on point in respects to convenience. So a couple of years ago, we went to Vegas for 4 days. And when I went over to see Nick, admittedly, it was 10 years ago now, I went to see Nick. But everywhere you went in the States was convenience. So you'd go to a supermarket or a mall or whatever you call them. And there was like, you could get like a slice of pizza, which was like this big, a pack of like potato wedges and a Coke that was about this big, all for about $2.99 or something stupid. And I could see why there would be so many bigger people. Yeah. Because it's so easy to feed a family of 10 for about a tenner. All unhealthy, of course.
Yeah.
But the UK has got its own obesity problem. I don't know what the statistics are, but you know there are a lot of lazy, overweight people in the UK as well. But I do think it's greater in America because you are so good at doing convenient food. But then Americans are very good at selling both sides of the coin. So I've noticed you're advertising not only for convenient food, fat food, but when I was over there, every other advert seemed to be for a PT or a vegan diet or a slim fast drink or a protein, meal. So I didn't really get to see all of it because I wasn't there long enough. Does that make sense? But there was definitely no weekend pubs down the road where you could get a cottage pie or a roast dinner or anything like that. And I think we are pretty good at that. And I am thankful that the UK do that.
In Dublin, I don't know if they have it over in London or England, but they had bike stations.
Yeah.
Where you could rent a bike, and I really like that. I was like, oh, so if I need a bike, I walk out of my apartment, I have that membership, swipe the card, take a bike to work, lock it up, and I don't have to maintain the bike because I have the membership.
Yeah.
But it's like you always have transportation, like.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a slightly rose painted, gold painted picture there because they got them in London. They have them in Amsterdam. They have them in the centre of Dublin. So city centres like Brighton, Bournemouth, they would have them. But there's not one anywhere near here. I couldn't just go outside my door and get a bike. And
Gotcha.
I mean, you'd have to own your own bike. So city centres, you can get that.
Well, I know St. Louis has some type of thing like that, but they also have these little motorized scooters that you can rent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that's just increasing that for the same, you know what I mean? Now you're making motorized vehicles that are easy to access.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept though. Cause like, when I fought at Guns and Hoses, like I couldn't find a parking spot. So I had to park like miles away.
Yeah.
And so as I was walking, I was like, I clicked onto I had the app and I rented one of those little scooters and I was like, I'm going to make it on time.
Stop me now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a parking ticket.
Oh, it was funny. Yeah. That's crazy though.
But I guess, again, I was lucky enough to go to Canada at the beginning of the year snowboarding. And whenever you go anywhere else in the world, it's always a holiday, isn't it? So you never actually view or value where you're going as could you imagine living there? Now, when I went to Canada, I stayed with a friend of mine, Danny. Now, him and his wife are both incredibly fit and healthy. He's a Thai boxer. So we were looked after healthily. We're going to eat this, we're going to have this, we're going to have this drink. It wasn't just a order pizza, order takeaway. It was nice and healthy. But then I do think, again, obese, overweight people that smoke and drink, they're not going to be in the gym. They're not going to be in our life circle. They're not going to be in our niche of friends, are they? So you do surround yourself with people that are, like-minded people.
Yeah. That's crazy cool, man. So yeah, I mean, I've been obsessed with the UK. I want to travel a lot, and I was kind of hoping that fighting would do that for me. So like when I was able to fight in Dublin, just the culture was different. Like every time. So first off, I had a pretty wicked mustache when I fought in Dublin, and so I got confused with Ian McCall a couple times, and I had one girl I didn't even know who she was walk up and start making out with me because she thought I was Ian McCall. Yeah, so I told him about it. Yeah, he's like, I guess I'm glad I could do something for you because we both fought on the card, and me and him had a little bit of beef before that because I got asked who I would like to fight next, and I said I would like to fight Ian McCall. And they said, "Why would you like to fight Ian McCall?" And I was like, I'd like to shave off his mustache. Like, what? I was like, I would have it written in the contract that if I beat him, I get to shave his mustache off. I was like, that's a piece of memorabilia because he's known for his mustache. I go, if I shave it off and put it in a little Ziploc baggie, I could sell that mustache. And it turned into a big thing because he's like, I have no idea who this guy even is, but he's very good friends with Antonio Benuelos.
Yeah.
So, and then we ended up having the same manager. The next manager I got right after that was the same manager that he had. And so we ended up training a little bit in California. He's a super cool guy. We still keep in touch pretty regularly. He's good people, but he's one of those people that has a camera face. So who he is, under the camera lights is a lot different than who he is behind closed doors. Cause he is not what I expected, but I was able to go out and we had a couple bites to eat and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is cool to get to know. He's like, dude, he goes, I created a monster with this whole image. And he's like, I just kind of got to uphold that. He goes, but he's super cool, dude. Yeah. He's got a daughter. She's awesome too. And cool guy, good people.
Nice. And you meet so many cool people in this world, don't you? So many cool people, which I love. Yeah. I've got some quick fire questions for you as well. Really simple. Okay. What's your strangest eating habit?
Strangest eating habit? Oh, I don't know. You have to ask my fiance. She'll probably tell you that right off the bat. Strangest eating habit? I don't know.
That's cool.
See, the thing is, I don't even know if they're strange. You know what I mean? They might be to some.
They're normal to me.
She doesn't like the way I eat popcorn because I just a handful at a time.
That's the only way to eat popcorn.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's your best memory?
My best memory is, wow. There's a lot of them. It all depends on the context.
Yeah.
I'd have to say hunting with my buddy, my best friend, Travis, hunting with him up in the Ruby Mountains, northern Nevada.
Nice.
We camped for like 2 weeks straight, lived out of a cooler in our trucks. And because he was chasing deer and I was helping him out. Just hanging out with my buddy.
Nice.
And hunting on the mountainside. Because it cost us like no money, but the experience was something that people would pay for.
Yeah.
And that's something he helped me out early on in life. He goes, dude, stop chasing money, start chasing experiences. And he goes, experiences Like not only
Way, mate. All day.
yeah, not only are you going to live the experience, but then when you tell the story, you relive it every time. It goes, and then you have a cool story, and it's me and him have got. There isn't a cool story I don't have that usually doesn't involve him. Like we've done some stupid stuff and some fun stuff, but yeah.
But you create memories, don't you? And
Oh yeah,
that's all we remember. The photos
oh,
and the memories of, again, it's all up in there.
Yeah.
Nice. If you was an animal, what would you be and why?
Oh, if I was an animal, I would be a sloth.
A sloth.
No, I wouldn't be a sloth. I'd probably be I'd probably be like an octopus or something. I'd be something aquatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Different,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
I like different. I really want a jellyfish, a box jellyfish. I'd love one.
You want one?
Yeah.
As
Not
like
in the bath.
Oh.
just But yeah, and the wife's like, "You're not getting a jellyfish." I'm like, "I want one. Oh, in the corner, in the tank." But no,
Yeah.
I'm not that one. What's your jam? So, favorite artist or song? What do you listen to?
I like all types of music. When I'm training, it's usually techno.
Yeah.
But because I coach a high school wrestling team, like I control the music box because they don't have any taste in music. And so I was trying to find a channel that they would like, and I put in Pump Up the Jam Radio, and so it's all like late '80s, early '90s hip hop R&B.
Yeah.
So the kids are like, these are some good songs, like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, like stuff like that, like stuff that there's no cuss words. You know what I mean? You can't really be in a educational building and they just drop in the F-bomb or
the gangster rap.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I played that and the kids like it. So I like punk rock, alternative. Yeah. I actually got a shout out from Keenan Maynard, the lead singer for Tool.
Yeah.
He's
nice.
he loves running around sparring and doing Muay Thai and there's some friends and Patrick Christie and a couple other people like I got a shout out when I fought in New York this last August.
Fantastic. That's nice to get a shout out, definitely.
Yeah.
And what's your most embarrassing moment?
Most embarrassing moment. Oh wow. There was a time in college, I had a kid call me out because I fell asleep during cellular biology class. The teacher was this little Indian guy who almost won the Nobel Prize for work with cancer cells. Amazing professor, but he was almost too smart for like our knowledge because he expected us to like be on the same level as him when we weren't. But anyways, I'm in class and this is after a hard week of wrestling and I dozed off and I woke myself up because I farted. And the way that I was sitting in my chair, it like echoed through the room. And I woke up and I looked around to see if anybody was looking at me. Nobody was looking at me. And then a couple of them after class was like, "Hey man, did you wake yourself up by farting?" And I was like, "Oh man, that was
busted."
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
Brilliant. I've not had one like that. So yeah. We have gone on for over an hour. How cool is that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. One thing I'd kind of like to finish with, I guess, is one thing we've kind of accidentally talked about is one thing that keeps coming over and over and over, and we get this a lot, is with, obviously, the podcast is Kickstart Your Confidence, but what I find is so many people they don't carry the confidence that they should do in many aspects of their life. Does that make sense? So having the mindset of being confident. So whether that be training, whether that be going to school, whether that be going to go for a job, going out for a weekend for a walk, is getting the mindset right. And a lot of people are struggling a lot now, certainly with coronavirus, they're getting like forewarned syndrome, they're getting cabin fever. And I think mindset is becoming more and more important as we move forward.
Yeah.
And literally nearly everything we spoke about has pretty much come back to mindset. So I'd like to just finish by saying that, I think with what you've been speaking about, it's in everything you've done, whether it be fighting, teaching at college, your wrestling days, it all comes back to the mindset of being positive, having drive, having a goal, having a focus, working hard. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Mindset. I was I can't control a lot of outside factors in life, but I can control, like you said, like
Mm.
how I react to things. Um, I tell kids all this time, like you're being anxious or being nervous. I was like, you're focusing too much on the future, what could happen. Like you don't even know if it's going to happen. How about we
Yeah.
be present? You know what I mean? Let's focus on right now and what we can do about it. And I learned that early on in life. If I can physically do nothing about it, then I'm not going to worry about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if it's raining outside, like I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why would I get frustrated and mad about it? Because I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is I can do stuff inside, or I
Yeah.
can work on schoolwork, or I can always find a way to just move forward. And
Yeah.
so yeah, um, and then having confidence, like you were saying before, it's like um, there's a difference between like confidence and cocky. Like the, the view that I was given or was kind of spoken to me is like I have confidence in my ability, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I just know what I'm capable of and what I can do, and that there's points of being humble, like being respectful. That's kind of that gray area where people kind of overlap that confidence and cocky part, where it's like they're not humble in the same respect and being appreciative of what they do have. I think that people too often they're not appreciative of where they've come from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what
Yeah.
they've been given. And I think a lot of that comes from upbringing too. You know what I mean? How your parents raised you. Did they just give you everything, or did they make you earn it? You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
once you earn something, it just gives you a whole new perspective. Like you're proud of the smallest thing that you may have earned because of what work went into getting it. But if your parents just bought something for you, it's not the same. You
Yeah.
know, you might have had everything that you want, but you didn't have to just sweat. You know, have to struggle a little bit for that. So I think
Yeah.
that's where my mindset comes from, is having to struggle a little bit growing up. I had amazing parents. My dad passed a few years back, but they were amazing in the fact that they always gave me everything that I needed to survive.
Yeah.
But like when it came to a truck, and they even told me like, we want you to be successful in athletics, but we can't afford much because I have two siblings. They had three kids. They're
Yeah.
like, we can't afford much. So if you want to play sports, you have to support it on your own. So my junior and senior year of high school, I was working a full-time job and playing three sports. So it's like, it made me realize like later in life, like if you want it bad enough, you can find a way to make it happen. You can find those odd and end jobs to pay the bills so that you can fight. And like, it kind of segues back to you saying like all those guys want to be pro fighters, but it's like, are they willing to suffer and struggle to
Yeah.
make it to that next level, or they just want to hand it to them because they might have a little bit of talent? Just a little bit of talent isn't going to get you anywhere. You got to be able to just work tirelessly, and that mindset just segues back to it. It just
Yeah.
keeps, yeah, just
It's
give and take.
constant. It's constant. It's constant. And you've
Yeah.
got to be prepared to put in the grind. And like you say,
Oh,
people get given stuff too much now.
yeah.
And
Yeah, like
some,
I was telling you about that. I was telling you about that speech I gave not too long, or at that graduation a few years back, and that was one of the things I was like, I'm not the most talented, but I'm one of those people that I'm willing to outwork any and everybody in front of me to get where I want to be. So I have no problem suffering and putting myself through pain if I
Yeah.
know where I'm going to end up because of it. So
Yeah.
that mindset, I think, is something that I acquired from my grandpa. He's a hard-nosed Italian that's been working his butt his entire life, and I think it's something that a characteristic that I picked up from him. And
Yeah.
my dad and my mom, they're always willing just to outwork anybody to give and provide for the people that they care about. And I picked that up from them, and that helped me have a very good fighting career up to this point. And I just can't wait to continue fighting, hopefully in the UK soon.
Fingers crossed, if we can make it happen, we will.
Oh,
Definitely, if we can. Just as you said that, I went for my third Dan in kickboxing 2 years ago. I was 37. But the two guys grading with me, so there's only two other guys, they were 19 and 21, and they were going for their first degree black belt.
okay.
And they were both 6'1", out of college. All they do is fight. All they do is fight. And I remember getting into the gym and warming up and thinking, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. But I said to myself, they are not going to outwork me. They might be taller, flexible, lighter on their feet because they don't have all their, like, do you know what I mean? All they do is train. They don't work. They don't have jobs. All they do is fight and train. So I thought, I might not be able to outkick them, but I am going to outwork them.
Yeah.
And that got me through the grading. It really got me through the grading. But
So
the mindset of that is now pushing me
yeah.
in the coronavirus, because if I just sit my ass, the business will fold.
Yeah.
So we have to work, we have to drive, we have to continue finding new ways to evolve.
Yeah.
Because we have to.
In wrestling, we call it mental toughness. You know what I mean? That grit, that grind. It's something. It takes a long time to develop it in a kid, but so if a kid has to cut a little bit of weight to make the weight class to be successful, like I think it gives them a little bit more grit, a little bit more mental toughness, because they have to sacrifice time away from friends and family just to be able to compete. And so we don't force our kids to cut weight. We're against that. We don't want to ever force a kid to do something that they don't want to do, but we'll suggest them like, hey man, just 3 or 4 more pounds and you'll be at the weight class below. You'll be a lot more competitive. If you need help, I can help you. I'll run with you. I'll sit in the sauna with you. But just having to suffer that a little bit, you see kids that just come out of it more and more mentally tough. He's going to be a junior next year. And he's the first kid in 14 years of coaching that I haven't been able to physically break. And so his freshman year, I just was like heavy hands, put him on his face. And it was just giving him everything that I had. And he kept getting back up and getting right back in my face. And I was like, I can't break this kid. And great attitude, great. But it's like, I talked to his dad. Dad was a kickboxer. He comes from an amazing parents who have just taught like that resiliency. You know what I mean? That mental toughness. Like, hey, it might be horrible right now, but guess what? All that pain is going to pass. You know what I mean? And where are we going to be after all that? Yeah. So it's cool that mental toughness not only spans just wrestling and fighting, but it everything.
Life.
Yeah.
Wicked. Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to say thank you so much. Is there anyone you want to say hello to or thank you to? Any sponsors that need to be mentioned?
Just HK, man. Thanks for the year. Right now, you guys are my only sponsor. I guess you could say that because you guys have just kicked me down some awesome gear, and that's
Nick. That's Nick hooking you up.
Dude, he hooked me up a good one because of his kindness. I was able to kick down some gloves to some other people, and so I like to always share the wealth. I don't like to hoard like a lot of people will do.
Yeah.
And so he hooked me with some awesome gear. So anytime like I get new gear, I take my little bit of used gear and I'll pass it on to people who don't have it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That's really kind. Yeah.
It's I like passing stuff on with jiu-jitsu. And I didn't realize how much weight that it carried. So when I got promoted to brown belt, I had my purple belt. And I know a lot of jiu-jitsu guys like to keep their belts as like a little badge of honor on the wall.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I've been training with pretty consistently, and he just got promoted to purple belt. And he was getting ready to compete at Worlds. And so I gave him my purple belt. I was like, hey, man. I was like, it may not mean a lot, but I was like, here's something in it where the stripes were. They're like faded, so you can see where they're supposed to go. I was like, hey, man, I'd like you to have this just as a little memento, like just to know what you're shooting for. And he said that he told me afterwards that he went to his car and just started crying. I was like, wow, man. He's like, yeah. He's like, because you're a good friend and you have that much faith in me and my ability. You gave me your purple belt when I was getting ready to go to Worlds. He goes, that just gave me just a whole new jump on life right there. And I was like, I appreciate that, man. But it's like, I just like to hand me down, not hand me down, but it's like I bled, sweat, and cried on this belt.
Yeah, I've worked with it.
Hopefully you get to pass it on to your next guy too. So
that's pretty cool. That. Yeah, that's cool. I love that. Well, so thank you very much. Anyone listening, I hope you've enjoyed it, or watching, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something and take away from it. And don't forget to drop us a like or a comment. And remember, guys, it's not just a sport, it's a way of life.